Hello, everyone. Genevieve. Okay, grab your stick and grab your short stick too. So you should have two sticks. All right, we're going to start with the big stick. Lee circles. And reverse. Catherine, when you're doing, let's say, a forward Lee circle, what is happening with your microcosmic orbit? Let's say, the microcosmic orbit goes around the trunk and go in either direction. Let's say it starts at the base of the spine, at the root chakra. All right. When you're doing a forward Lee circle, what is the microcosmic orbit doing?
It's turning this way.
Okay, so describe it in terms of the body. Starts at the root chakra, and then what? Where does it go?
So it goes down my back, and then one sec, and then up here.
Okay, so let's say it's starting at the root chakra. Where's the next part of the movement?
Well, then it goes up, and then I open here, and the sheet here, and then it goes back down.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, my words are really not clear, but
That's all right. This is the entire point of the exercise is just to clarify this. It's not like you have to know ahead of time. This is a discovery class, all right? So watch.
yeah, exactly.
Is it coming up my back or up my front? Is it going down my back or down my front?
No, when I go front, it goes up my back and then down my front.
Yes, exactly. You can feel it, yes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. When you do this exercise, you should feel it. Let yourself feel it. Don't let your mind wander around somewhere else. Let your mind be on the microcosmic orbit. It's coming up my back. And now it's going down my front. All right? It goes under the crotch, up the back again, over the top of the head, and down the front. The energy channel on the back is called the Dumai.
Mm-hmm.
The energy channel in the front is called the Renmai. So you're coming up the Dumai, down the Renmai. Up the Dumai, down the Renmai. What about if you reverse it?
It's the opposite.
Yes. So now, where is it coming up?
It's coming up the red mai and down the do mai.
Yes, exactly.
I feel it only since 2 days.
Yes. Okay, we're going to go into more detail here. But your awareness of this is is the beginning of understanding what Tai Chi and Qigong really are, which is the word they use is nei gong. Nei means inside. Gong means work. So it's your inner work. It's it's the energy body work. And it's very simple. Right? You can feel it come up your back. You can feel it go down your front. Or if you reverse, you can feel it come up your front. You can feel it go down your back. Now, it will get more sophisticated, but that's the basis, that's the foundation of everything. All right. And of course, every different move is different, but this is kind of the simplest possible move. Now, ask yourself, okay, the reason that I started with the microcosmic orbit is very big. It's very big, so it's relatively easy to feel it. What is your mysterious Dan Shen doing? All right. If I'm going up my back and down my front, what is my Dan Shen doing? What is this ball here doing?
It goes from down my back to up front here.
When you're talking about your lower back and the Tanjong in front, right, what you're talking about is the thoracic piston. So the relationship between the chest and the stomach. All right. But what I want to talk about is not that relationship, but rather just this down here. Remember, this is like a ball down here. What is that ball doing? What is that sphere doing? Suppose instead of doing great big circles like this, I just do very small circles. All right?
It does the same movement though.
It does the same thing. That's exactly right. So how this works is all movement starts in the mind, even if it's in the unconscious part of the mind. And then it goes to the Dan Shen. And the Dan Shen, let's say we're going to do a forward motion like this. Then the Dan Shen will start to spin in this direction. The Dan Shen is like a gear, right? In the engine of a car. It's a complex engine, but in another way, it's very simple. You get this starting forward like this, and that gear gears into the microcosmic orbit. Now both circles are rolling forward, the little circle and the big circle. Very simple. Suppose instead of going forward, we go back. What is the Dan Shen doing? It's rolling backwards. So a very simple idea. Now, there's another circle we haven't even talked about, because in a certain sense, these are the two most important ones. But because of the way human beings are constructed, there's another circle, and it includes the whole body from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet. All right. Now you could just say that's the microcosmic orbit. The reason I'm saying it's maybe a little different one is it's a little different image. So you could say, like, we're standing inside a big circle. All right. That also moves in the same direction. All right, now it's moving forward from the bottom of my feet, up the back, top of the head, down the front, bottom of the feet, up the back, over the top of the head, down the front, bottom of the feet. Or if you're going backwards, all right, down the back, bottom of the feet, up the front, top of the head, down the back, bottom of the feet, up the front, top. Very simple. So you can think of these three balls, a small ball here, a medium-sized ball that's your trunk from your root chakra to your crown chakra, and then a giant ball that's as big as you are. All right. Now here's the thing: those three balls are actually all the same thing. In one way, your dantian is a little ball here. In another way, your dantian is a giant ball that you stand inside. All right? When you practice, that's what you're practicing. Not the stick. The stick's just an excuse to do something, right? Okay. Now, put your big stick down and grab your little stick. The little stick is used for most Qigong. So we can do the same exercise. What's your dantian doing? It's rolling forward. What's your microcosmic orbit doing? Up the back, over the top of the head, down the front, under the crotch, up the back, over the top of the head, down the front, under the crotch, up the back. All right? Very simple. And the stick, of course, activates the acupuncture points in the hand and makes it very sensitive. And reverse. All right, now the dantian is spinning backwards. The microcosmic orbit is spinning backwards. All right. The big circle that goes around your whole body is spinning backwards. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Don't answer it. Just think about it. What's the difference in your feeling between the big stick and the little stick? There are similarities, there are differences. What are they? Small, very small. Up the back, down the front, up the back, down the front, up the back, down the front, reverse, up the front, down the back, up the front, down the back, up the front, down the back. One thing you can say, doesn't matter whether you're using the little stick or the big stick, it's not the hands and the arms that make these circles. It's inside. It's the dantian. It's the microcosmic orbit. It's the core of the body. Right? It's the core of my body that's doing this. That's why these simple exercises are the most important ones, are the foundation exercises of everything. It's to get you to work from the inside out instead of the outside in. Okay, put your short stick down. Just the hands. Or reverse. Now, usually in life, we don't really hold our hands sideways like this. I was sort of holding them sideways as if we were still holding a stick. What we usually do is hold our hands like this, one way like this. All right? So let's do it palms down. Up the back, over the top of the head, down the front, under the crotch. Up the back, over the top of the head, down the front, under the crotch. All right? Or reverse. Up the front, over the top of the head, down the back, under the crotch. Up the front, over the top of the head, down the back, under the crotch. What's happening inside is exactly the same as if we had the sticks. The little stick or the big stick, doesn't matter. Or this is called empty hands, all right? When you do empty hands, it's exactly the same thing. What you're exercising is this stuff inside. Now let's do the form. The first move of the form. What are you doing? All right? Reverse, forward, reverse. It's exactly like those exercises with the sticks. What you're doing, what you're really doing, is what's inside. It's not that what's outside is not important, but the energy is being generated by the inside. And that's what the exercise is. All right? Up the front, over the top of the head, down the back, and push out. Now, down to the crotch. up the back, over the top of the head, down the front to the crotch again. And now up the front, over the top of the head, down the back, all the way to the bottom of the feet. The first move, that is the traditional first move of the form. And that's, by the way, that's the first move of every Tai Chi form. Every Tai Chi form that's ever been invented always starts with that, because it's the most fundamental movement. Opening and closing. Right? Open, close. Open, close. All right? It's a very simple, the human body works like this. Open, close, open, close, open, close. So you're practicing that fundamental movement and practicing it from the inside. That's the entire secret of Tai Chi and Qigong. If you're not doing the inside, then you're not doing Tai Chi or Qigong. You might be doing something that kind of looks like Tai Chi or Qigong, but it's not real. It's empty. This is, but when you practice the inside, then it becomes full. Then it becomes real. All right? Does all this make sense? Do you have any questions?
What about the movement that side to side?
Okay, let's go on to that then. So the movements that we just did are in the forward and backward dimension, the Li dimension. Well, what about if they're side to side? Well, they work the same way, but they tend to use different energy channels. All right. So grab your big stick again. And reverse. Okay. What is your Dantian doing? When you, yes, exactly, Genevieve. When you go from left to right, it's spinning like this. I'm making small circles here on purpose, but they could be really big circles. Doesn't matter. The Dantian is spinning like this. We could call this spinning in a clockwise direction. Right? Spinning. Suppose you go the opposite way. You go counterclockwise. Right? Or really small. What's the Dantian doing? Well, now it's spinning this direction. Counterclockwise. So when we do Li circles, it's spinning forward or backward. Now it's spinning clockwise or counterclockwise. All right? The Dantian is an energy organ, so it can spin in any direction. Don't think just because it's in your body, it's static. It's not. It's very dynamic. All right? Okay. When we do the Li circles, we use the in addition to the Dantian, we use the microcosmic orbit, forward or backwards, right? Forward, backward, right? What about when we do this circle? How do you use the microcosmic orbit when you do that? You're not going in the right direction to engage the microcosmic orbit. Now, the truth is, you do use it a little bit, but the major channels that you use, the major channel that you use, is not the Renmai and the Dumai. It's not the microcosmic orbit. It's the Chongmai. The Dumai runs up and down the back. The Renmai runs up and down the front. But in the middle, there's another one. And that's the strongest energy channel in the body. It's called the Chongmai. Chong means central. So it's the central channel. It's in the front part of the spine. You know, you can feel your spine, you can feel somebody's spine, little bumps there, and the spine doesn't seem like a big deal, but in fact, the spine is huge. The spine's like, 6 inches thick. All right. So when you are making circles side to side, you're using the central channel. Watch my finger. It's like a whip.
On the same level. No.
Same level.
I mean, do you go back? You go down and up, or just?
If even if you're going down and up, right? And reverse. All right. Now, you're also using some other energy channels. You use the yang and the yin energy channels in the arms and legs. Right? So one way to think about this is if you took a piece of chalk and drew an outline around your body, right? You're using that outline, you could say. Does that make? I hope that makes sense. Or reversed. The shoe circles, the side to side circles, are often difficult for people to feel at first. Eventually you'll get them, you'll feel them, don't worry about it, right? But I usually do the shoe circles last, but you asked, so we went into it, right? The Lee circles are pretty easy. You can feel those. The same feeling that you get with them, you can also get with this. It just takes a little experience. All right, grab your short stick. All right, shoe circles. And reverse. So the reason that we do so many exercises like this, and we repeat them over and over and over and over every day, week after week, right, is to wake up your awareness of this and your feeling so that it becomes strong in your body. It's a perfectly natural movement. We're just not used to it. Now, put your short stick down. All right. Think of the beginning of the second move in the form. All right. That's just this. All right. Clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise. All right. It's just exactly the same as the exercises. Now let's do an open-handed exercise, or we're going to do 9 clockwise followed by 9 counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clockwise, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 counterclockwise. When you're doing Tai Chi, one of the things that can look a little confusing at first is what your hands do. All right, watch my hands. Just my hands. Don't let the hands fool you. The basic movement is exactly the same as what we were just doing with the stick, where the hands are not really doing anything. All right? Watch. Clockwise, counterclockwise. That's the movement, not the hands. It's not that the hands are not important for Tai Chi, but they come later. They're like icing on the cake. What you really need to get at the beginning is that basic movement, clockwise and counterclockwise. And that's exactly what you are doing with the stick, whether it's the little stick or the big stick. All right? Inside, you're going like this. And reverse. Okay, let's move on to the next circle. So we've talked about the Li dimension, front to back dimension. We've talked about the side to side dimension. There's only one dimension left because there's 3 dimensions. The third dimension is level, right? So grab your stick, your big stick, level, level, The stick is straight up and down, but the circles you're making are level. Right, and reverse. Okay, that's with the stick straight up and down. You could also do the same exercise with the stick like this. Level circles. All right, and reverse. Okay, when you're making those level circles, what is your Dan Qian doing? Yeah, it's spinning level. It's going around clockwise or it's going around counterclockwise, right? Now, when you're doing, these are called ping circles. Ping is the Chinese word for level. So it just means level circles. And it doesn't have to be at the waist. It could be up here. That's a ping circle. It could be down really low. That's a ping circle. It just means that it's level. When you're doing level circles, you don't use the microcosmic orbit. What you use is the daimai around the waist. It's the only horizontal energy channel in the body. All right. So the dantian is spinning, and then you're spinning around the waist. All right, or reverse. This spin around the waist is so powerful that the daimai in China is also called the ring of power. They don't mean J.R.R. Tolkien's ring of power. They mean it's a ring of power. So the old saying is your energy is generated by the feet and the legs, right? My legs and my feet generate the energy, they create the energy. And then it's directed by the waist because the waist turns and it pushes the energy out, including straight forward. It's the waist that determines where the energy goes, and then it's expressed in the hands. So the daimai is really important. So we've talked about 4 energy channels. The renmai and the dumai are used in the Li dimension. The zhongmai is used in the Shu dimension, and the daimai is used in the Ping dimension. The X, Y, and Z dimensions. Those are the 3 dimensions of space. And your awareness of these four energy channels gives you a way to move your body through those spaces in a very controlled but very natural and organic kind of way. So, Master Feng, as I keep telling you, used to say, you should do in your practice, 70% of your practice should be this kind of Qigong. Right? Oh my God, why? Why 70% in these simple little exercises? Because you have to wake this up in your body. Nothing about anything that I've said here is dogmatic. It's just an observation of how we work. This is how we work. So take advantage of it. You learn this is the way we work, and you learn to use that to your own advantage. Let me finish with one caveat. When you do Lee circles, front to back, you're using your microcosmic orbit. But that doesn't mean you don't also use your waist. You're also using your daimai. It's just the percent that you use it is very small. If you're going to use your renmai and your dumai, of course you're also going to use your chongmai. The point I'm trying to make is, in each of the three dimensions, you always use all four of the channels. So it's not like black and white. It's just a percentage. When you're doing Lee circles, almost all the motion is in your renmai and dumai. But Catherine brought up earlier the relationship between the dantian and the tanzhong. That's mediated by the chongmai, the central channel. So, Catherine, you were right about that. Yes, you are always using your chest, lower back, chest, lower back, right? If you're not using that, then you're not getting 100%. You're only getting maybe 60% or even 50%. If you really want 100% of that motion, you've got to activate this. So, yes, you use the dumai in the back and the renmai in the front, but you're also using the chongmai in the center. All right. And maybe 2% of it is your daimai. Watch this center. Can you see? It's shifting side to side a little bit, tiny little bit. Why is it shifting? Because you're shifting your weight from foot to foot. You're coming up on the right and going down on the left, right? When you come up on the right, it causes you to sink in the right hip joint. Right? You start in the red, and then you go down in the blue. And that is mediated by your daimai. So yes, most of the motion is the dumai in back and the renmai in front, but there's also the chongmai and there's also the daimai. That's for Li circles, front to back. The same thing is true for Shu circles and for Ping circles. There's always all four of the major channels, and there's always the qua, right? One of the biggest mistakes that beginners make is they stiffen up their qua. But in fact, the qua should be very flexible, right? You should be able to sink in your qua or rise up from your qua. And that means you need to open your knees and be in a horse stance because that opens your hips, all right? Lots of daimai action in this, even though these are Li circles, right? If I do Shu circles, watch the red and the blue. All right, they're always activated. The thoracic piston is always activated. All right, it's all of it. All of it is always activated. All right, it's all always activated. But if I tell you all this stuff and I tell you to go do that, and that's all activated, right? It's too much. It's too much. Nobody can do that. So you practice one piece at a time. You take your stick and you practice dumai and renmai. All right? Up the back, down the front. Up the back, down the front. Up the back, down the front. I'm not thinking about my qua. Right? I'm thinking about my microcosmic orbit. Maybe, okay, now I feel comfortable with that. Now maybe I can add on the thoracic piston. So the piston that runs between the dantian and the tianzhuang. Now I'm thinking about two things. And that's all I'm going to think about in this practice today. I'm not going to worry about the 1,000 other things. I'm just going to think about those two things. And then when I go to my Tai Chi practice, that's what I'm going to think about. Those two things. Microcosmic orbit and the thoracic piston. Thoracic piston. If you can get those two things down, you've got 60 or 70% of that particular move. So you don't worry about all the other little things. You just worry about those two big things until you get it down and it's so comfortable, you don't think about it anymore. You'll know you've got it when you do it without thinking about it. You just do it. And someday you'll be doing the form and you'll go, oh, I'm not even thinking about this. And it's happening. I'm just doing it naturally. Watch. All right. Now it's a little exaggerated, right? But basically, yeah, I don't think about it, but I used to think about it. Now, when you get that, you've now discovered part of your body, a capability in your body that you maybe didn't even know was there. It's not about becoming a martial artist. It's about becoming you. All right? Watch. You don't have to do it on both sides. If this is going to happen here, what could I do with the other side? That's in the third move. The point is, pay attention to the simple stuff, because the secret to everything in here is the simple foundation exercises, not all the fancy stuff that happens later on. The fancy stuff that happens later on, that's easy. But it's only easy because you've got the foundation. If you don't have the foundation, it's just everything becomes impossible. But if you do have the foundation, you realize, oh, this is very simple, right? I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. All right? If I'm doing this exercise, what am I doing? I'm doing this. It's exactly the same thing. It's a little bit more side to side, but it's basically the same thing. Make sense?
Yes.
Good. Okay, guys, we are going to be on break for the next 3 days for Chinese
Enjoy.
New Year, the Year of the Dragon. All right. So we will see you all next Monday. Ciao.